Coming up on Pickleball Breakdown, an epic 72-shot rally with an ending that, well, actually, we don't really know what happened at the end.
They both tap paddles.
So I've done that after losing a point.
Yeah, oh sure, yeah.
But before we get to the end, there is lots to analyze, so let's break it. Oh, hang on.
Brandon, shut the hell up! He's in there working out. It sounds like he's giving birth to it like a giraffe or something.
Oh my God. You know this is making the show, right?
Quiet on the set. It's time to break it down.
Here's how this works. You send us highlights, great plays, good plays, and not so good plays. With the help of Coach Alex Fox, we break it down. You learn, we watch, and we all get better. This is Pickleball Breakdown.
All right, Alex, let me set this up for you. This is video sent to us by Sushant in Cary, North Carolina. This is a great point. We've got David and Sean here in the near court, Sushant and Rahul in the far court. And I don't really even need to pause this because this point is going to last for over a minute. 72 shots. First of all, before we dive into the details of this, as we watch this point just roll on here, this was just a great point. What are your thoughts?
There's just so much good ball movement, partner movement, communication, positioning, shot selection. It's just a really sound point pretty much all the way around.
Yeah, so you could literally just take this point and replay it a few dozen times, and I have, and just enjoy it for what it is. It's just a really well-played point and see how they position themselves and the shot selection and all these things. So first off the bat, really well done on all four players up to this point. Let's start to dive in on this thing and see what tidbits we can learn from these four awesome players on this one. David and Sean, they're the ones that are serving. They do a really nice job of staying patient and working their way up to the line, and they just move in unison all the way up to the kitchen line. Really patient, solid play.
The only bit of criticism that I might give Sean here is it took them 3 drops to get up, which is fine. However, if he would have opted to go cross court on one of those drops, I bet you all 3 of them would have been just perfect and able to get up sooner because the margin for error, like we've talked about, is greater. You don't have to be so perfect. The ball travels a little bit more. So let me bring up one other thing real quick about Sean's dinking. He's really disguising his dinks well. They're deceptive dinks. These are not flat, dead, boring dinks. They're very well placed. He sells big a little bit here and then just dinks it. And that's something that I love doing and I love teaching. That really hides it when you do choose to go for an attack. And no, that didn't win the point, but that, very subtly kept them in it because it makes your opponent not comfortable, and that's what you're after.
There's one little piece there early on where David feigns the Ernie. You like that strategy where you just jump over there? He never really even had a chance at one, but he jumps over there anyway.
Well, you don't know if you have a chance until you give it a chance. So you just gotta, roll the dice sometimes. And I don't know how often David and Sean have played together, but it looks like he has quite a bit of confidence that Sean was going to have his back on that. And so it freed him up to go ahead and, if I miss, I miss, or if I guess wrong, I guess wrong.
That's exactly what happened is that Sushant saw him over there and then just went cross court over to Sean. All right. My favorite part of this play was early on in the point, and it reinforced something that you told me in our very first lesson together. You're gonna just have to bear with me here because I'm really gonna geek out on this. It's so subtle, but I just love it. And it comes when David hits this cross-court shot over to Rahul's left side. And then immediately as he does that, Sean and David just move in unison together. Sean's responsibility here, Coach, I want you to know I hear you. Sean's responsibility here is to guard that line, and he slides over. Now, David's responsibility is to cover that center. So he does not slide over. You talked about this in an earlier episode. I remember it clearly as well. David's responsibility is not to slide over at the same depth as Sean, but to take a half step back to guard that middle and give Sean what you call the right of first refusal to take the shot that comes across the middle. And sure enough, Rahul comes across the middle, and Sean actually tries to take the shot, but he misses it. And David is right there. He has to stretch a little bit, but he's right there to clean it up. And talk about smart positional play. I mean, I must have rewound that maybe 5 or 6 times because David and Sean played it perfectly. Now that I just described that to you, Alex, what's your comment?
Ditto. What's next? But I mean, yeah, really. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. What you want to do if you're David is open up at that like 45 degree, and keep that ball squared in front of you, and allowing you to kind of mesh with your partner. So they have the linear line of the non-volley zone, and you are backup basically. You're playing center field kind of. So it's funny because a lot of times my students will ask me during an instructional play or something, who had that ball in the middle? And my answer is always both. And then they kind of look at me a little weird, but really no, it's both people have an opportunity. As you see here, Sean takes a swing at this ball, isn't able to get it, but David's there. They both, that's a well-covered middle.
And if you're watching and you've ever collided with your partner right there at the center line, because you're at the same plane, happens all the time. And I remember you saying that's the very first practice we ever did together. You said that's the cure for that, is having that person just on a different level. And kudos to David and Sean. They played it perfectly well. And I don't know what shot that was. Maybe that was 30 out of 72, but it kept the point going. All right, let's move on. So here what we have is just nice, easy play from all of them. And then Sean goes for the lob. And once again, Sushant and Rahul just play that lob perfectly.
What I would have liked to see from David maybe here is freeze Sushant and Rahul from coming up so quickly by maybe just faking that you have something that you can hit hard. To make him doubt the quality of his drop.
What's a good way to get started thinking about those things? Because these guys clearly are advanced enough and incorporate that into their game. But a player at my level probably couldn't. So what would you say to someone that, I hear you say all the time, keep them uncomfortable, keep them guessing, and that's the gist of it, I assume.
Anybody can do this stuff. Anybody can think this way. If you're just thinking about making your opponent uncomfortable, put doubt and fear in the back of their head. That's why I like going for that Ernie like David did earlier. No, he didn't have anything there, but now they got to think about that. Now they're saying, oh, wow, this guy's looking for that. Constantly make them think, be one step ahead. It's kind of like a chess game.
Jesus Christ, Harmon, you're humiliating my rook.
You won't have to suffer much longer.
And it's always better to be on your toes thinking about that way than to be the recipient of those things.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So there's actually another good, few seconds of this chess game that's going on, as you call it. And there's some power shots in there and some quick hits and then back to neutral. And it's just really well played all the way around. And then for some reason, on the 71st shot, Sushant decides to take a really low ball, in my opinion, and speeds it up, and out the court it goes. Now, you tell me, was he maybe targeting Sean's shoulder there? Or was he just trying to hit an attack ball? Why would you, after 71 shots, why would you take that risk right there?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it cuts off on the video. Like, we don't see exactly where it bounces actually, as we went back and forth, like, wait, who the hell won this point? Like, they both look happy and sad at the same time. Like, it's kind of, but we're going to go with, it was just barely out.
That's what we're sticking to that one.
It definitely looked like it was going to be way far out, but then it wasn't that far out. But I don't know, man. The only thing I could think of there is kind of impatience. And I know, like I've talked about with you, impatience or having patience. That's some terminology I'm not a big fan of, but Man, you get tired after a long point like that. Sometimes you just want it to be over. You know, you want to
So win or lose. I'm taking my shot right here, win or lose.
throw a haymaker and see if you can land it and knock them out, you know?
Yeah. I've been trying in my game, based on our conversations, to just really wait and I know you said that patience is a double-edged sword, but really choose my attacks carefully when I'm going back and forth. And it seems to me like Sushant just, you know, flew in the face of that. He didn't choose his attack carefully there, and it cost him this epic point. Which maybe he was like, yeah, I'm gonna go big or go home here.
Right. But you know what? If Sushant goes at David here, we might be looking at a different outcome. He chooses to roll it cross court, and that's something you almost never, or at least very rarely, will see a pro level player do. It's attacks are usually going at the person who's straight across the net from you, not cross court.
Well, regardless, there was a lot more good than bad, and what's that cliche? It's a shame somebody had to lose this point, but Sushant and Rahul, at least we think they lost this.
I don't know. Somebody had to have lost, yes, and we think it was Sushant and Rahul.
That's what we're going with.